Parlez-vous français? Does that give you a clue on what we're cooking tonight? Well, tonight we're going to make a traditional French dish called beef bourguignon, and I know you're going to love it. So let's get cooking. Oui, oui. Okay, so welcome back, and we're gonna make our beef bourguignon today, and what you need is a Dutch oven. This is a Dutch oven. Dutch oven is really awesome to use because you can cook on the stove with it and you can put it in the oven, which is what we're gonna be doing. So the very first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start heating up my Dutch oven. So in my Dutch oven, I just placed 1 tablespoon of butter, and I'm just gonna melt that butter. You wanna make sure you don't burn the butter, so you want it to be kind of like on a medium to low flame right now. Okay. Now I'm gonna add 6 slices of bacon. This is apple smoked bacon. It smells so good. And this will be later on, this will be chopped up later on. Okay. You can see that bacon cooking in the pot. It smells so good. You want to cook it for around 10 minutes until it's lightly brown, and then you'll take it out and put it on a plate that has paper towel on it. Okay, so my bacon is about done, and they look really, really nice. I'm placing them on this plate that has paper towel so it can drain. And I have my oven preheating to 300 degrees right now. All right, so in this pot, the same pot, I'm gonna get some really good extra virgin olive oil. This is Lucchini brand. I'm gonna be using 2 tablespoons, placing it in that bacon fat with the butter. This is not low cal. And I'm gonna heat that up just a little bit. And what I did was, with my beef, I'm using chuck. I seasoned both sides, and I'm gonna put the flame up to a medium flame. And what I wanna do is I'm gonna sear it. And it's gonna be seared for probably about 5 minutes. I'm gonna be flipping it over. You wanna make sure all sides of the beef is seared. So I'm gonna place this in here. You can hear that sizzle. That tells you it's nice and hot. And I'm not gonna be able to place all of them. I'm gonna have to do these in sections. Now we're going to add round 2. All right, so I'm going to sear this, and we're gonna sear it for about 5 minutes. That's round 2, and then we're gonna start working on our onions, so stay tuned. Okay, so my meat is done, and I'm gonna take it out with a slotted spoon, keeping all those drippings in the pot. And it smells so good. And I'm just placing the beef once again on the plate with the bacon. So next what we're gonna do, we're gonna get 1 tablespoon of butter, another tablespoon of butter. I'm gonna add it to my pot. I lowered the heat a little bit, and it's on a low heat right now, low flame. And I'm going to melt that butter into, it's already making a sauce. So you have the drippings of the bacon, you have the butter that we used, we have the olive oil, the beef, and now I'm adding 1 tablespoon of butter. I'm gonna let that melt in there, and then I'm gonna add my yellow onion. Now we're using 1 yellow onion, and it's sliced very coarsely, just like that. Can you see that? So just very coarsely. And I'm going to cook my onions until they're pretty much translucent, and then we're going to add our carrots. So I'm gonna add my onions. Let me do that with my spoon here. So I'm going to put up my flame just a little bit, and I'm going to get some salt and pepper. So I'm just seasoning with a little salt and some freshly ground pepper. Get my wooden spoon, give it a good stir. This is gonna be so good, guys. I hope you give it a try. I'm gonna let that cook for a little bit, and then we're going to add our carrots. Okay, so when my onions are cooking up, I'm getting 2 tablespoons of butter. I'm adding it to this pot here. You can use a frying pan. And I'm going to be sauteing my mushrooms. We're going to be adding mushrooms to this dish too, but I want to cook my mushrooms up separately, and then we're going to add it later. All right, so I'm melting my butter. That's 2 tablespoons of butter. Once my butter is melted, then I'm going to add some onions, and then I'm going to add the mushrooms, so stay tuned. So to my pot here, I'm going to add, this is a half of a white onion that has been chopped up small. I'm going to cook my onions first a little bit in that butter. This dish actually uses a lot of onions. So I'm going to add a little salt and pepper to that. Give that another stir. I'm going to let this cook for about 1 more minute, and then I'm going to add the mushrooms, and I'll let the mushrooms cook for approximately 10 minutes or so. So stay tuned. Okay, so really quick, over here I have my onions that are still cooking, and I put a lid on my mushrooms. I'm going to let this cook for approximately 10 minutes. So in my pot here, I'm going to be using some baby carrots, and I'm using 1 whole bag of 12-ounce carrots. And then I just put in my pot with the onions. I'm giving it a good stir. And I'm going to let these cook for approximately 10 minutes. And we'll be back. Okay, so it's been approximately 10 minutes. I'm going to add just a little bit of salt to my carrot and onions again, and a little bit of freshly ground pepper to those carrots and onions. Give it a little stir. My onions over here are doing fine. They're pretty much done. I'm going to give that another little stir. And remember, this takes about 10 minutes or so. Now I have 3 garlic cloves that I just sliced, and I'm going to add that on top of our carrots here. I'm going to give that a good stir. And now for the fun stuff. Okay, so now I'm going to just turn off the flame for a bit. I'm going to add 3 cups of a good red wine. You want to get a good red wine for this. You can use a Merlot if you'd like. Smells really good. You could even use the same red wine to drink with the meal too. I'm also using a ½ cup of brandy. All right. Okay, so I have my booze in in my pot. I'm letting that stir. It's on a very low flame right now. I'm going to let that cook for just a couple of minutes, and then I'm going to add my beef and bacon to it, so stay tuned. Okay, so I'm going to add my beef back into the pot with the bacon. Give that a nice stir. Smells really good. now I'm going to add 2 cups of beef broth. I'm going to add 1 bay leaf and some thyme, and this is ½ teaspoon of thyme, dried thyme. I'm going to give that a good stir. Okay, so we're also going to add 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. I like using it from this tube here. There we go. Get my whisk and kind of whisk it in there a little bit. And now I'm going to put the lid on, and we're going to put it in the oven at 300 degrees for around 45 minutes to an hour. And when we come back, we're going to finish it up. Okay, so my beef bourguignon has another maybe 20 minutes to go. And you might ask, well, what else are we going to make with this dish? Well, you can make pasta with this or any type of potato dish. So I'm going to make some mashed potatoes, and I'm making your basic mashed potatoes. I'm going to add basically some sour cream, a little bit of milk, and butter to the potatoes, and maybe just a little bit hint of garlic. And we're going to make some garlic bread. So this is Italian bread that I already cut up, and I'm just going to put some extra virgin olive oil on it, just like that. And I'm going to add a little bit of minced garlic, kind of just smear that on top, and kind of rub it in there. Yum. And then I'm going to just sprinkle just a little bit of Italian seasoning on top. We're going to put that in the oven and let that bake for approximately 10 minutes or so until it's nice and crispy. So when we come back, our beef bourguignon should be done, and then we're going to give it a good taste test, so stay tuned. Okay, so welcome back. So my beef bourguignon is almost done. It has another maybe couple of minutes to go. My potatoes for my mashed potatoes are almost done too. But what I wanted to show you was to thicken our gravy, or our sauce, I should say, for our beef bourguignon. You're gonna need 1/3 cups of flour and 2 tablespoons of butter that is softened. And what you're just going to do is just smash that butter into the flour, just like that. And you're just going to mix those two together, because then we're going to add it to the sauce to thicken it up. We're also going to add the mushrooms and some onions. Now the recipe, traditional recipe, calls for pearl onions to be sprinkled on top, but I'm just going to use regular frozen chopped up onions, and I'm going to sprinkle that on top. So when we come back, we're going to do all that. So stay tuned. Okay, so I just took it out of the oven. Look at it. It looks so good and it smells fantastic. What we're going to do now is we're going to add our mixture here, our flour mixture. And I'm just going to put that in here. Use a little wooden spoon, stir that in. And I'm going to bring this to a boil along with my mushrooms. Let me get my mushrooms. And when we boil it, it should burn off some of that alcohol too. Add my onions on top. Remember, you can use pearl onions. I'm only going to use probably half a bag. This is a 12-ounce bag, but I'm going to be using half of it. Wow. Oh, wow. Mmm. Bring that to a boil, then we're going to cover it back up and let that simmer for an additional 15 minutes. My potatoes look like they're almost done, so I'm gonna be making my mashed potatoes, and I just put my bread in the oven too, so that's going to bake for a little bit. And when we come back, we're gonna give everything a great, awesome taste test, so stay tuned. You wanna take a look? Wow, look at that, that looks so good, and oh my gosh, it smells fantastic. So now we're going to make our plate. Okay, well look at it. It looks and smells fantastic. I'm gonna take a little bite. Oh my gosh. Let's see what it tastes like. Wow, the beef looks really, it's nice and tender. Awesome. All right, let's have a little bite. Some of those mushrooms. Oh, wow. And the potatoes go really well with it. Garlic bread. Oh, wow. This is really good. I really am a good cook. Fantastic. Well, I hope you enjoyed Happy Cooking with Yvonne Douglas today. So until next time, happy cooking. Bye-bye.